What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of TheTrav Get Schooled. Joining me today is ATCWIZ once again. How's it going, man?
Oh, fabulous. Love being here. This is fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the last stream, or the last episode, so we'll see what we can do. We started off with a nice way to screw up Ace Ace, so let's
Okay,
see.
there's a way to screw up Ace Ace. Let's see what way it
Well,
is.
actually, before I even hit play, I wanted to ask you a question about this, and
Sure.
it's way the wrong thought process.
hmm
But I did have a question about it. I had just lost a medium pot the hand before this and didn't have a chance to reload.
Okay.
And with the dude to my left's stack size,
hmm
I actually considered, at least in my thought, it would just to flat here, only because I'm shorter stacked, he's shorter stacked, and it would give him more chance to call.
That's a common thing that you see a lot of players do that is very, very, very incorrect. In the large database analyses that I have done, it's overwhelmingly not even close. When you have aces and kings, they are the nuts and should be played as such pre-flop. When you slow play them, you lose a massive amount of profit. So whenever you have a chance to raise and get it in, raise and get it in. Don't worry about pushing people off hands. Don't worry about, keeping the little guy along, stuff like that. Just raise and get it in. Aces are the nuts, played as such.
Right.
And that's where your best profit is going to come from.
Sounds good. I like that. Yeah. It wasn't something I was like really totally considering, but at least it entered my brain as what if.
Yeah,
But
that's something that you can go into your own database and look at and say, okay, when did I just flat call a 3-bet or something like that with pocket aces, and what is my win rate versus what is my win rate when I 4-bet them? And it is a massive difference. It's not like it's kind of close and you can go either way. No, it's a massive difference.
right. Okay. I thought I'd start off the episode there. I don't think I raised big here though.
I don't think you really need to raise big here. I mean, your effective stack is 380, so I mean, you're just looking to get the SPR under 2. So I mean, as long as yeah, you don't need to raise huge here. Something like a $1.30 is appropriate. A $1.15, I'm all right with that. You're still going to get your SPR under 2 with that.
Right.
It's gonna be close enough that you're going to go ahead and stack.
Perfect. So I figured if he called here, it would be a pretty easy just shove on almost every flop, if not every flop.
Well, you don't have to shove on flops here because I mean that pretty much screams that you've got it. I mean, once you make the 4-bet there and you get the SPR as low as you've got it, then your only concern is what's the most expeditious way to get the money in. And if that's checking to allow your opponent to bluff, then it's checking to allow your opponent to bluff. Quite often, I'll make a less than half size bet because people, they bet small. He must have missed ace king or something like that, and they shove on you with all manner of hands, and then you flip over aces and they go, oops.
True. Yeah. It's not the most exciting hand, but I did have a question on it, so I thought I'd
No,
throw it in here.
yeah, it might not be the most exciting hand, but it is a good hand to start with, especially for viewers that may not, may be questioning the same thing. Should I slow play aces? No, you should never slow play aces. Never.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've had opponents slow play aces against me. I pick up a draw and stack them with absolute trash, and then immediately afterwards type in to the chat box. And that's why we don't slow play aces, boys and girls. Do it all the time.
The king of chat box.
Oh yeah.
Alright, so here, I don't actually remember this hand.
Oh, good. Then it's new for both of us.
Yeah, or why I chose this. Or what stupidity thing I did. So,
Go ahead.
are we... I think I need to work on my versus the short stack type play. I have a pretty good idea, but I always get confused when it's short stack versus deep stack and me in the middle.
Okay. Well, if it was a full stack, and you know what, even if it wasn't a full stack, I'm squeezing here like 95% of the time. The through caller is basically saying he doesn't have a hand that he wants to stack off with, so I'm not even concerned about him in the least.
Okay.
It's possible that he might back raise with a second tier hand, like tens, ace queen, stuff like that, but I have no problem getting this in. I'm certainly going to get it against a short stacker, and if it gets back raised, it gets back raised. We get it in. We're behind 0.9% of hands out there with aces and kings, and we're flipping with
Right.
pocket pairs, and we're dominating everything else. Plus, we've got a strong draw possibility and stuff like that. So this is an absolute no-brainer. Go ahead and 3-bet squeeze this, and make it reasonably big.
Okay.
I'd make it 65, 70 cents, somewhere in there.
Against seat 3, like if he wasn't existing in this hand, it would be an easy, all in for me. It wouldn't even be a question we'd be talking about. But this is my weakness: shorty versus deep versus me.
Yeah, but you got to think if the deep player had anything worth stacking off pre-flop with, he'd have done it against the shorty himself.
True.
If he's sitting there with queens, there's no way he's flatting with queens there. I mean, the best hand he's going to show up with here is probably jacks.
Right.
And I'm good flipping there.
Right. So let's see what I did. I make the right play, but it wasn't for the same reason you just listed, probably.
Right. Okay, perfect. And we get our SPR is below 1. We're never folding here. So now the only question is, how do we feel about getting our opponent's money in? And if you feel like you're behind or something like that, then you go ahead and shove here. If you feel like you're ahead, then you can go ahead and check call or stuff like that. This is a situation where, like, let's say I had flopped a top pair, top kicker hand. I will check this 100% of the time, let him bet, and then come over the top.
Right. I think I'm trying to remember this hand. I think I'm remembering it now. I think I felt like he had more like the weak type aces, like an ace 10, ace 9 type hand.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, the only hand we're behind here is ace queen. I mean, right. Ace queen, maybe king queen. That's really it. If we shove here, he's going to fold. He is going to fold better hands. He's going to fold jacks, tens, nines, eights, sevens, sixes, all the way down. If he had aces or kings, I think we would have known about it. If he had queens, I think he would have known about it. Right. So the only real hands that we're in bad shape against, and not even that bad shape against, because we still have reasonable equity, is king queen, queen jack, maybe. And that's really it. We're ahead of all of his draws, and so I mean, I feel like this is value here.
Right. So let's see. I'm pretty sure I actually did put them all in. Now that I'm.
Yeah, that would be my default play here. Yeah, I have no problem with how that hand was played. Yep. And he happened to get there. So it sucks sometimes they get there, but I mean, he had 30% equity when the money went in.
Right, and I wasn't even I'm 99% sure the reason I put this hand in here wasn't because I got sucked out on. It's just because of that. That's my weakness right now, is what to do when in this situation.
Yeah, just keep in mind that the through caller, if he had anything worth stacking off pre-flop, he would have raised the
he
shorty
let us
himself
know already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is the same scenario. I forgot why I added this hand in here, so we'll see. This is from episode 10. I meant to make a note on all these as we're going through this, but whatever. So
okay, go ahead and talk your thought process, and I'll tell you mine.
My thoughts were just that we're still relatively deep stacked. I'll be in position. I've got a pretty good price to call here to see a flop. So
you're getting a good price to call here, but the problem is your kings are just destroyed by all of his kings. I mean, he's doing this with ace king. He's doing it with possibly with king jack, or I'm sorry, king queen. He's certainly doing it with pocket kings, pocket aces, stuff like that. So your single pair hands here that you're going to flop are going to be dead. So you need to flop 2 pair or better.
Right.
And anytime that you've got a small blind versus an under the gun open, you can expect a fairly nitty range, especially at this level. I would expect him to have queens or better and ace king 90% of the time, and then the other 10% of the time he'll have jacks.
Right. So I think, pretty sure I called here.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy fold, in my opinion.
I agree. And this is exactly what you were saying.
This is
I flop a
exactly what I
king,
was
and now what
talking
do I
about.
do?
Right, and this is one of those spots where if you're ahead, let's say he's got a hand like queens here. If you're ahead, you're going to get one street of value out of him because he's not going to put in a whole lot of money. If you're behind, though, you're going to give him 2, maybe 3 streets of value.
Right.
So that's kind of the worst possible situation you can come up with is you basically value town yourself. There's no way really to make a profit here because you're going to lose a lot more money long term than you're going to win here.
Right. Agreed. So I think I think I went too fast. I think I checked. No, I didn't. Never mind.
I would hope you bet that, but find out real quick where you're at.
Yeah. Do you like the sizing on it? Like,
yeah, I'm totally fine. I mean, whatever your standard stab there would be, I'm good with. And it's not something that's so important at this level, but when you get higher levels, they'll pay attention to your bet sizing more. So if your standard stab is a half pot, then go ahead and make it half pot. If it's your 2/3, make it 2/3.
right.
You might get a call here from queens once. You might get a call from like ace queen of hearts. You might even get a call from jacks here.
Right.
But I think that's really about it.
I figured, like, a lot of times those 2 heart boards, like the 2 to a flush boards, like the first thing that goes through your mind is how to protect it from a flush draw. But in a size like this where he 3-bet, in a pot this big already, there's not many flush draws in his range anyway.
No. The only flush draw he's got in his range is going to be ace queen suited, and he's betting that.
Right.
He's betting that. But the problem with this, especially on a 2 Broadway board like this, is he has so many draws here in his range for hands that are kind of slightly behind yours. Right. But the rest of his range is just killing you.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so when he check calls here, obviously I'm gonna check the turn through here and basically try to get to showdown. And that kind of screams to me that he's got queens or jacks, or he's sitting there with pocket tens, maybe the occasional pocket kings there, and he's slow playing. He might even do this with aces,
right?
Just thinking that he's not going to get any value if he bets there. But a lot of times I see people with marginal hands that they just don't want to lay down because he's sitting there thinking to himself, well, I have queens. He may not have a king. He might have a 10, and he'll talk himself into calls and stuff like that. So I would probably check this through because, if you barrel this and he continues, you're just dead.
Right. What if he donks into you?
Oh.
Changes the whole landscape, right?
No, not really. It's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. You're still behind his entire range. What's he doing there? Deciding that he's going to turn queens and run a check, call the flop, and donk the turn.
Right.
No, I still think you're beat here by the majority of his range. You may run into the occasional hand here where he's just got nothing in doing this, and I do see that a lot, but I don't like doing this against strong ranges.
Right. I think the only reason I honestly took this line is just because at 5 and L, I've seen such weird stuff in the last, the last week. I've seen stupid stuff like this where they had 9s.
Oh, absolutely.
Show up with complete garbage. But I agree with you though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't see it often enough for this to be profitable.
Right. And that's the question you have to ask. Can he show up here with 9s? Can he do this with pocket 4s? Yeah, absolutely. Of course he can. And yeah, you're right. I have seen it too. But the question you have to ask yourself is he doing it often enough that you can exploit him by calling with a medium strength king?
Right.
And I don't think he is.
Yeah, I think you just delude yourself into thinking that's happening often enough. It's just like a tilt issue. People think sites are rigged because they got sucked out once. Well, it happens.
Exactly.
It's kind of like the same thought process, I think.
Yeah, you have to be good enough to be bluffed.
Right.
It's going to happen. It's part of the game.
Right.
Against a strong range, I'm inclined to let this go.
Okay. My in the video I tanked. I think I actually literally get down to 1 second before, but I walked through my entire thought process. I was pretty much close to a fold, and then I was like, well, it's an all-in or it's a fold. Like, calling is by far, I think, the worst option here. Because we're going to call, and then what? The pot's going to be 4, and we're going to have 2?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah.
So I
I
think...
mean, if you're going to call here, you're pretty much calling any river too. So I mean, there is merit to that. If you think now, if this was somebody that you had stats on and that you knew did this, then you could certainly go ahead and value call here.
True.
So
with this being anonymous tables, I didn't,
right.
I felt like it's either an all-in or a fold, in this spot.
Yeah, and I strongly prefer a fold here.
Yeah.
And you shove. Nice.
So he got the old jack on the river.
Oh, and he got the jack on the river.
But even with this result, I agree 100% of what you just said. Like, this is the one rare instance that he happens to have a worst hand.
Yeah, we absolutely nailed his range pre-flop. I mean, he had everything what we thought he had, and when he check called the flop, queens or jacks is what it screamed to me. So I mean, that's it. I still don't know if I would do that versus a strong range. I still don't think that that's a wise call pre-flop.
Right. No, and you know what? Getting sucked out on that 2%, I think, is a good lesson to be learned anyway. Even the times I'm ahead, I still lose it. But I mean, of that entire range, this should have been just dumped pre-flop, and I lose 15 cents.
Oh, absolutely.
So maybe we should start doing these like a week after the videos, because I forgot why I have this hand included as well. So this is actually, I think, more of a learning experience.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree with that.
Yeah,
when you don't know what's happening, it makes the analysis so much better.
Right.
Okay, that's a questionable call to begin with. I don't like that for the same reasons I don't like flat calling the 3-bet in the previous hand.
Right.
You're going to run into extraction problems, and you're going to value cut yourself a lot.
Right. Agreed.
But as we play this,
do you like a lead here by any chance?
I don't hate a lead here. We've got
well, 2 overcards, and this board doesn't really seem to hit him too often.
Well, it's more than the 2 overcards. We have equity here. We have backdoor equity for both the straights and the flush. So if we spike like a 10 of hearts or a queen of hearts or an ace of hearts on the turn, then we're in really good shape. I actually don't mind a check raise here, and realize that we're going to barrel on any heart, any 10, any queen, any ace, jack, or king. So there's a lot of the board that is going to be favorable for us on the turn.
Yeah, I just now thought of that. I wish I would have thought of that during the video. Because I think I just checked here.
Yeah, see there, and he puts out it's a reasonable pot. Obviously, he's gonna want to get it in with 10s plus and stuff like that. But his missed overcards, his ace king, his ace queen, stuff like that, is not feeling real confident on this. We might even get him to fold 10s here. Right. But against the range that calls us, I think that we're doing fairly well with our backdoor equity here.
Right. Yeah, I think that's pretty close to what I thought of during this. Now it's just pretty much done, right?
Now you're done. You're just done. You're done. If he barrels again, he didn't. Now this is a spot here where, do we think we can get him to fold an ace?
I almost don't think so. And this is again just from what I've seen, but I feel like anytime the board double pairs like this, you get the fish thinking that they're ace high kicker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's 2 pair on the board and they have an ace high, so.
Absolutely. It's if you think your opponents will fold an ace here, then go ahead and fire it out. If you don't, go ahead and check back. We do have the best hand sometimes here. Sometimes he's sitting there with, queen jack, queen 10, 10 jack, stuff like that.
Do you like the bet sizing on that one? Let me see if I can back it up just a bit.
Yeah. So what do you put into this?
I'm trying to back it up again.
Well, yeah, this is you know, it's however big you need to bet to get your opponent to fold his ace high hands.
Right.
Is basically what it comes down to. In these spots, I'll generally bet a bit bigger as opposed to smaller here because it is a pure bluff. So you put 47 and 71. That's actually a little on the small side for me.
Right.
I think I would make it in the 60 to 90 cent range. Just because a lot of these guys, you know, when you overbet, will fold their ace high. But if you give them, you know, 3 to 1,
right,
you know, they're like, true. Well, for that, my ace high might still be good.
Yep. Okay.
And if you get somebody that's really stubborn with their ace high hands, I don't see any problem with shoving here from time to time.
This should be our last hand here.
Okay.
And I don't remember why this got picked either, so...
King Jack offsuit, that's a pretty standard opening. I'm sure there's a joke in there someplace about being one Jack off. But
from you, I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so on this flop, this is a really horrible board for us to continuation bet on, because we literally can't rep anything, and he's going to call with. I mean, all of his broadways are going to call. The 7-8 is in the center of, you know, everything. 9-10, 10 Jack, you know, all of that stuff. His small overpairs, 9s, 10s feel very comfortable on here. He's not folding 6s. He's certainly not folding. You know, a hand like ace queen of diamonds, ace jack of diamonds.
He's not folding.
He's just not folding. You're just not going to generate any folds here. And this is a spot where I would much prefer to go for a delayed continuation bet. And, you know,
right.
if we spike like an ace on the turn and he checks to us again, then we can very credibly rep an ace. Or if an ace hits and he donks out small, we can raise him there and be very, very credible with our ace. If we bet here and an ace hits, now it's kind of like, really? You hit the 7-8 deuce board and now you're trying to rep the ace now.
Exactly, right.
Yeah, so this is a delayed c-bet, in my opinion. Because we've just got no equity. We don't even have any back doors here.
I'm not even really sure what I was thinking here. To be quite honest, like, that's a pretty standard thing that I've been doing quite a bit of lately is, this makes no sense for me to have, why am I betting it? And still put up money.
Exactly. I mean, it'd be okay if you had back doors.
Right.
But you don't have any back doors. And of course, we get our ace there, and had we delayed c-bet it, we can go ahead and rep that.
Right, and we both called, there's no way he's folding this. And
there's no way he's folding.
Ta-da,
no.
I bet anyway.
No. And you probably barrel here, which we talked about. You have no credibility now, and certainly if he's got an ace, he's never folding.
Right.
He's likely not folding 9s, 10s, anything like that. He's, you know, you're probably going to have to barrel the river to get him off of those hands.
Yep.
And if he raises, obviously you're dead. But
right. So I mean, again, the results are we won, but the whole process behind me when I played this was totally skewed.
Absolutely. This is one of those things that we've talked about this a couple of times. You can make a bad move and win the pot with it, and then it becomes part of your game that you have to redo later on when you get higher up, because people are going to be like, you can't represent both there.
Right.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, we've said it before, but it's just poison that some of this stuff, that's what makes poker great, is that you can have this result, think you played it right, your mind's poisoned now, because now you have to go relearn it, like you said, 3 months, 4 months down the road.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I've had conversations with players after the fact. They're like, well, I won money, didn't I? It's like, at that point, it's like,
I'm done.
You're a lost cause, brother. Right. I mean, I wish you the best. Good luck.
Right. Yep. That's the beauty of the game, though. That's the beauty of this game. All right, man. Well, that should pretty much wrap it up for us for the second episode of this. So thank you again for joining us, man.
Hey, you're very welcome, and I enjoyed it. It's fun.
All right, man. We'll see you next week.
All right. Have a good one.